Oh, you got a lunch?
Yes, everybody has a box lunch to take.
And what's that? Kimchi pork?
I
I think so. It's the kimchi pork.
Oh, well, that's what it is then.
Yeah, hope you like it. Hello, Alyssa.
Yes.
My name is Effie. I'm a student of Gina University.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Are you with this center?
Yes. Do you want to have lunch?
Okay.
Can I talk with you a few minutes? Because we are doing research on Sino-US relations, as well as the One Belt One Road policy. Yeah, I have read many research written by you.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
Thank you.
So I want to ask you some questions if I can.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I thought we were all supposed to take this lunch in here. That's what everybody said to do.
Yes.
Are you getting a lunch?
Not really.
No? Okay.
Maybe after talking with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you want to take a couple minutes here? Is that easier? Because if I sit down, then it's harder. So the way these chairs are, do you want to sit here?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's very kind of you.
Somebody's
Maybe
here.
here.
Do you know this person?
I think it's fine.
You do?
Yes.
What if we're taking their seat?
Just a few minutes.
Okay. Then
Yes,
if we're taking somebody's seat, then you get to explain.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So the first one, as a project of One Belt One Road policy, many Chinese enterprises were invited to Pakistan to carry out the infrastructure.
Right.
So, however, the security of Chinese enterprises was threatened by terrorism.
Right.
Yes.
I'm going to say that tomorrow. This is a real issue, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think I'll be here tomorrow as well.
Good.
So, as we know, there are many American enterprises in over the world.
Yes.
Can you please talk about the way America protects the overseas security of your enterprises so that we can learn from it?
Yeah, so here's the thing. The United States doesn't have a sort of formal force protection for private sector enterprises.
Yes.
And we don't have state-owned enterprises. We just don't have that.
Okay.
What we do is we have a system of very active consular warnings, consular information briefings.
Okay.
Our State Department has something called the Overseas Security Advisory Council.
Okay.
And the State Department encourages everyone, including all companies, when they're working abroad, to register with the State Department so that they can find out if there's any emergency information. During 2001 and 2002, when tensions between India and Pakistan became very, very high, and both mobilized troops on the border, the State Department actually did a warning and suggested to Americans living abroad in those countries that they may want to consider temporarily leaving. And so the State Department will do that through these warnings and notices. But there isn't a formal mechanism where the U.S. government provides physical security and protection for private sector. That is typically understood to be the responsibility of the private sector enterprises. So you will find in places like Angola, the major U.S.-based oil companies actually have their own security set up. You will also find there are companies that have developed around the world, and their function is to provide security for private sector. So companies like, what is it called? 4GS, is it right?
4GS.
I'll have to double check the name of it, but they provide security around the world. They're very active, providing security for major movie stars. If they're I'm serious. If they're shooting something on location abroad, or a senior like a CEO or a COO who are considered so critical for the company that they need to have a high level of personal security protection. So it's a different system because we don't have state-owned enterprises.
Do you need to build a closer relations with the local people? Because I think some people may misunderstand our purpose. Because we want to do the infrastructure for them, but they will think we've got other purpose. So do we need to
Well, honestly, this is an issue for China.
Yes.
In many of the countries for One Belt, One Road, including in places like Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal. This is an issue in Africa, actually, where the construction is undertaken and it brings Chinese workers, brings Chinese investment, brings Chinese companies, but doesn't necessarily involve citizens of the country.
Yes.
There can sometimes be a source of political dissatisfaction, and so you can sometimes see political protests. Tomorrow I'll talk a little bit about some of the protests in Sri Lanka surrounding the infrastructure development projects that China has undertaken there. It has become politically very difficult.
Yes.
So that's something that Chinese officials should consider.
Okay. So do you have any suggestions about this situation?
I thought it was interesting that Vice Minister He Yafei spoke about the idea of consultation in developing these projects. And so I think that if people hear more from these countries that they would like to have their workers hired to work on projects, that would perhaps address some of these political sensitivities.
Okay. And I know you also learned about India, and India has not publicly expressed the support for Chinese One Belt One Road policy. Yeah,
so India supports some components of the broader policy that has created One Belt, One Road. So India is a supporter of the AIIB. India is very active with the New Development Bank. What India objects to very specifically is the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is part of One Belt, One Road. But India objects to that because it is running through territory that India considers Indian territory that's disputed with Pakistan.
Yes.
So that's for Gilgit-Baltistan. It's the same area where the Karakoram Highway was built. So India is very concerned about this as a territorial issue. So that's why they're not expressing support for that. And they are, in their own diplomacy with China, expressing their own unhappiness about the fact that a lot of infrastructure is now running through this area.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but nowadays, more and more researchers believe that India can benefit from One Belt One Road.
Right.
So, if India supports One Belt One Road and cooperates with China, and maybe the balance between American China and India will be broken. What's your opinion on this situation?
I mean, I can't speak for the government of India, obviously.
Yes, of course.
I don't believe that the Indian government will vocally support something that they don't consider to be in their interest. And this territorial issue is something of great concern to them. Now, they are interested in infrastructure cooperation with China. Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping had conversations about this in late 2014. It continues to be a topic of bilateral discussion. But I think India does have some significant concerns about One Belt, One Road. So I would be surprised to see them come out with a statement of support on that. I think their support for new financial institutions that are funding a Belt and Road activity, that's different. They continue to be very active participants of the BRICS unilateral grouping. I think they'll continue to seek cooperation with China on those fronts.
Okay, so what I mean is you don't think India will support the One Belt One Road in the near future? So
not unless there's some change to this issue of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. I am doubtful. I think that New Delhi sees this as very much inimical to their own interests.
Okay.
Yeah. But they are in dialogue with Beijing on other forms of infrastructure cooperation, including bilateral. Yeah.
Yes, I know there will be a dialogue of One Belt One Road held
in May.
In May.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if India is sending a representative. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you
Is that good?
very
Is that
much.
helpful?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's very helpful.
So you should come tomorrow.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will definitely.
We should have a good discussion tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you.
Sorry to interrupt your lunchtime.
No problem. I'll go take this over to the spot.
Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.